cover of Dirt doesn't look anything like I thought it would look like, which is crazy because now I can't imagine any other cover in its place.
It is just beautiful. It is simple and yet conveys the message of her story so well.
When I first saw the cover of Dirt, I said, oh yes, this is exactly and everything I ever could have imagined this cover could be.
And so it didn't surprise me that the cover was brilliant in some ways, and in other ways it jumps out at you because it's like nothing I've ever seen before.
The cover doesn't look anything like I thought it would, but I don't think I could have pictured this beautiful of a cover.
When we got this cover, it was like the first time you saw it, you just sort of knew that was the way it was always meant to be. And, you know, between draft 1 of writing this book and draft 2, I just kept looking at this cover, you know, saying, I want to write the book that's worthy of that cover.
When the proposal came into our publishing house and I read Mary's samples, and I was just immediately enamored with her. She is a gifted writer, let's just say that right out, which is not always the case, but Mary is different.
I think we both always knew that Dirt was the title of the book.
Have to say, initially, our team was a little bit nervous about titling a book called Dirt, for all the obvious reasons, right?
I think the book has a lot of surprises and a real juxtaposition in that when you hear a word like dirt, in a memoir, you think, oh, well, maybe it's going to be depressing, sad, but there is so much depth in Mary's writing.
Originally, when I was first picturing the cover of Dirt in my head, I imagined it was going to be this really dark, kind of moody cover. I pictured it would be like a night sky or maybe a thunderstorm, and there would be sort of this like illustrated rendering of the trailer with maybe like a little girl running towards it.
We all pretty much agreed that we needed to try to somehow find a way to use that trailer on the cover.
Which is really interesting. In hindsight, looking back, that I think was just me still being at this place of where we need to put kind of like a more romanticized or softer version of our story out there. Like we do these things, right, where we kind of gloss over the surface. I think an artist's rendering of the trailer would have been glossing over that surface.
I was just taken aback by the imagery of the trailer, knowing that that is the actual trailer that Mary grew up in.
Patty, our art director, immediately got to work, and she showed us several options.
I did a few different concepts, and it became kind of clear that it seemed sort of disingenuous to have a stock image or something that sort of reflected Mary's story but wasn't truly the place that she lived.
That cover just started to speak to us.
I was really excited to hear that we were going to use one of Justin's pictures for the cover of the book.
There was just something about that scene that I felt very drawn to. The image that's on the cover was actually something that I took very early in my career. It was the very first time that I went home with Mary to West Virginia to meet her family.
So for that picture that Justin took to end up being the one that we use on the cover, in a lot of ways, I feel like that is the journey of Dirt, right? It's going from this place where something we spent a lot of our lives trying to hide away and not show people, it's willing to kind of put that story front and center. It's willing to say, I am not just these renderings of myself that I put out in the world. Like, this is the story that built me.
So when I found out that the publisher wanted to use this image on the cover, my first thought was, wow, that is a really old picture from a really old early digital camera, and I just hope that the file is big enough to be printed.
Oh, I love the overall design, but there's something so captivating about that image that really just pulls me in.
I feel like the monochrome, toning of the image really just helps to draw you in without any kind of distractions. There's no grass, there's no red of the truck. I think with it being monochrome, I think it really helps us to feel what it felt like rather than what it looked like.
I've been doing this for a lot of years, helping authors design their book covers. And for Mary's book, I feel like the publisher really pulled out all the stops.
The font and the smudges on the title dirt might be my favorite part about this cover.
So we wanted to make sure that there was enough white space to let your eyes rest as you travel down the page.
And we both really liked the idea of having the image be kind of stark and then this white background that sort of plays off that, and then it also would then make the title really pop.
You know, I love that there are all of these elements to the book cover that are rich and textured, because it makes it more tangible and real and raw, and that is this book. It is tangible, it is real, it is raw.
You know, it's this beautiful, elegant, kind of delicate font. I actually took pictures of dirt and then made Photoshop brushes that were actually dirt and then used that. So I really wanted it to be authentic, like really look like dirt. So then I did some smearing and did some of that kind of stuff just to make it feel, give it more that grittiness, but with that, still with that lovely font.
One of the ideas that came to me was, what if we emboss the speckles of dirt and the brown words themselves? You see a lot of the high-low contrast. It makes it feel like the dirt is really there, like you could almost reach out and touch it.
The use of the gold foil on the words broken and beautiful highlight two of the key words that drew me in from the first time I ever read Mary's work.
Yeah, it's transformational. Gold is a substance that gets transformed, and Mary is a person that shows you through this story, through this writing, that she is a person who has been transformed. And in that, I think the gift is that she has invited us in to be transformed as well.
So I've had an interesting behind-the-scenes access to the writing of Dirt, because I was here while Mary was writing 12 hours a day throughout the winter, and I can tell you firsthand that she has just poured her heart out on these pages, and I think you're gonna love it.
You know, it's been just a pleasure working with Mary. We've sort of been in contact from start to finish.
She has this way of being really poetic and also really straightforward and sharp at the same time, and there's just so much wisdom and wit that comes through her writing and through this book.
These stories that are so vivid and real that you can see them in front of you, you can feel them, and you can move through them with her.
You just get lost in the story and you find yourself, more importantly, in the middle.
And so the biggest thing I hope readers get out of both this cover and this book when they walk away from it is that this story you have was never a shackle. It was never this thing holding you down. This story that you have are those roots that go down and dig down deep and allow you to stand a little taller. And so I'm so ready for everybody to hold this in their hands, to read these words. And yeah, I feel like these are the words where we ended up. These are the words that are worthy of this cover.
I'm most excited about readers getting a hold of this book and reading it and finding themselves in Mary's story.
Like Mary always says, dirt is the place where we start.
It really is just stunning. It's a stunning cover that reflects a glimpse of how beautiful and eloquent the words within it are.
They see the cover and they want to know the story. They want to pick it up and read it. And we have been honored to send this book to media, and I cannot wait for it to be on shelves.
It reminds me that the messy and dirty parts of my story are significant, are important, are things not to be hidden away.
And it's been so fun to see it come together and just really be an embodiment of, or at least a hint at, the story inside the pages.
Readers are loving the dirt cover now, but they will revere the dirt cover after they have read the story.
Oh man, it's been such a long time coming.
I can't wait for September 15th. People are going to not even know what hit them when they finally get this book in hand.
So I am just beyond excited for September 15th.
And so yeah, September 15th, Dirt will be on shelves everywhere. Get it in your hands. Let's do this.